Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is Jaguar, and this is my Playbook trade for Friday, November 22nd of 2019. And this was a initial balance breakout trade in crude oil. As you can see here, we put in a decent amount of range earlier on in the session. This was about 58 or 59 ticks. And so when I'm looking to trade breakouts in crude, that's really what I'm looking for. Unless there's some type of news, I'm not trying to trade the choppier breakouts. So if you look at this section right here, this was on a Wednesday when the inventories were coming out. So I did get in this trade for different reasons. But if I saw a market like this early on in the session and I knew if we were not waiting for a news catalyst, or basically a news catalyst is going to be the only thing that would make me trade a market like this. So when I'm looking to trade these momentum breakouts, I'm looking for the market to actually have some range and some volatility being put in. So I saw this range, formulating here, and so we actually had a pretty good initial move in the first hour of the day. We pulled back here to the mid VWAP section, and it held there and did eventually rotate over. We also had this extreme low volume area right here that was formed from this candle. And so I was expecting this low volume zone to be an area of resistance. Now I didn't trade this pullback because I don't trade pullbacks, but I started looking for a breakout when we approached down here. And as you can see, this was not the time for the breakout yet because buyers did step back in. However, they were met with sellers on each step of the way up. And I'll show you that a little bit better on the footprint. But I just wanted to go through the context of this trade real quick. We can see that we are actually trading at a lower volume node, and I've mentioned in videos before that I don't love trading into low volume nodes, but in crude oil, crude can really slice through these things like butter. Sometimes we will retest the area and we'll get a double bottom, but if we're accelerating through these lows, it can really slice through it quite harshly. So I still will trade low volume nodes in crude oil. I'll still trade low volume nodes in the ES sometimes as well, but I want to make sure it's a full break. I want to actually see the level be broken, and I also want to see acceleration going into the low. So actually you can look here, these were my notes from Friday, and I'm feeling a little uncertain because we're going to roll over into high volume. Not sure what I was talking about there, but I'm going to wait for a clear break of the low at 58.15, not let it run against me very hard, and only for accelerating at the lows. So that's what I wrote down when I was looking at trading it here. And so that didn't happen. I waited patiently, and then I got another opportunity coming in here very soon. So I'm just going to go ahead and press play. This is the footprint bar here, 5-minute footprint chart, and you can see as we were moving up, we really being met with resistance each step of the way. So you see we have these VPOCs here at the top of the bars, and that doesn't necessarily mean that we're not going to move higher. It's just that the buyers are having to put in work to move higher, and so each time we step up, we're moving up, but not on a lot of delta, moving up, not on a lot of delta. And then finally, we kind of have delta exhaustion here where the buyers, this is one of the larger, of these bars, we put in more delta here on this bar, but didn't go anywhere. It's the smallest ranged bar from all these, precursing bars. Then this following bar, we have less delta, but more volume and a lot more range in this bar. So that tells me that we lost buyers. Not necessarily that not necessarily that sellers have stepped in that aggressively yet, but the buyers are not there. They just have essentially given up. They couldn't push it past this high volume node here. So we rotate over, and then we're going to see on this bar, we're just going to start to accelerate into these lows. And this is at 5 times speed. And so the market's still acting pretty normally here. This is 5 times speed. But when we get to 500 delta here, we're gonna start to just get acceleration
It's
all the way
50.
through. Right there. See where it just said it's 50. On my prints, if we have a order of over 100 in the ES, a block order of over 100 that hits the market, it will make that bird noise like a brrr, and I can't make it very well, but I just have some annoying sound set so that I'll always be conscious of when we're actually printing large lots. And so the same thing in Crude, when it's printing over 50, it says it's 50. So I just keep those audio alerts there because I'm staring over here. I'm not actually looking at the print. So I keep those audio alerts to know when large size is going in. So from 500 down to here, we started to accelerate pretty hard, and you saw the bar was starting to tip over. And now I got in. Sorry, we missed my entry here, but I actually got in right here at 58.13. 58.14. I got in here at 58.14 right here. So that was actually an excellent entry for this trade. I just wanted to see it get beyond 58.15, and I actually didn't enter right as we broke that level. I waited a little bit. You see we did put in some volume here, but I got in at pretty optimal pricing for this trade. So you could see right after I get in, we get these imbalances to the sell side, and the market is aggressively putting in delta and now aggressively putting in volume too. You see this 6,000 volume in this 5-minute span. There's no bar on this screen that has had that much volume. So we're also getting beyond the relative volume point, and there's still a little bit of time. There's 2 minutes left in this bar, so we're putting in a lot of volume relative to the other bars. So that's always good. That's what you want to see when you're trading a breakout, is you want to see the market get aggressive into those lows. And so that was my first scale out right there. And we don't have to watch all this, but let me just explain where my second target was at. My second target was right here at 57.86. And the reason for that is because on the book, we had layering from 85, sorry. 57.86 was my second target. And we had some larger size orders from 85 to 80. Passive buyers on the book, and I was looking at Bookmap to see that. And so you could see here on the overall volume profile, this is 120 days back, so the volume profile of this entire chart, and you can see the higher volume area was here at 78 was kind of one of the tips there, but 80 was actually where the liquidity was on the book. So I wanted to get filled just a little bit before that, right around the stock zone area, but I wanted to get filled just a little bit before that liquidity, and that was that's what I would call a perfectly executed trade. So just another thing to drive home is see this volume here. I was just saying, we had enhanced volume. We were at the top of this, and then that's how much volume we actually put in toward the end of this bar. So that's exactly what you want to see on a breakout. That's pretty much confirming the idea of the breakout. So then you don't even have to have a massive stop after that, because the imbalances started, really right here at this level. You could argue from here, but that's because we had a mini breakout from this level, and so there's probably some stops triggered right here. So your stop could be right behind here at 23. That's about where my stop was at on this trade. But your stop could also be here at 16, right behind where these imbalances started from. And so we eventually did get my target down here. We actually made it down to this stock zone, but because I was only trading a 2-lot, I didn't have a runner on, then I had nothing to continue on with that. But this was a perfectly executed trade for me. This is the only trade I took on Friday. I was I'm always pretty reserved on Fridays. Toward the afternoons, I really don't get too active. So that was my playbook trade for today. Hopefully you enjoyed that, and talk to you later.